Hey everyone, welcome in. In this video, what I'd like to do is to walk you through the very basics of creating a linear perspective shape for our drawing project. So step one is to create a border around the page that we're drawing on. Now you can use illustration board, drawing paper, or even printer paper for this project. But drawing paper is preferred. Minimum 11 by 14 inch would be a fantastic size to work with. So the border itself is 1 inch in from the edges of the paper. And you can see that the border is straight, it is sharp, and it is floating, meaning that it doesn't touch any of the edges of the paper. This is exactly what we want to do to begin our project because we are making an artwork. Step two is also very simple. It is putting in the horizon line. And the horizon line is just that. It's a horizontal line, and it separates the land and the sky. This is an arbitrary position. It can be higher than you see it in this screen. It can be lower. But for our project, and if you've never drawn before, it is easiest to put it in the center. The next step, step three, we're going to be putting in the vanishing point. So the vanishing point lives on the horizon line. This is an important point because this is where all the lines in the work are going to merge to. And I'll show you that in some subsequent slides. But it lives on the horizon line. It can be in the center here. We would call this frontal recession if it's in the center, but it can also be off to the left or right sides. If it's not in the center, we call the work as being in diagonal recession. So step four is to draw our square, and a square is the easiest shape to begin with. If you're using a 11 by 14 inch drawing paper, the square is probably going to be about 2 inches by 2 inches. So our next step, this is step 5. This is going to be where we extend the form to the vanishing point. We're going to be making it three-dimensional. And these parallel lines have a fancy name. They're called orthogonals. And they all recede back toward that vanishing point. And you can already see how the form has become three-dimensional, which is really kind of cool. The next step, which is step 6, this is where we have to put in another square somewhere between the original square and the vanishing point. So you can put it up here. You can put it further down if you want to make a longer object. It's up to you, but we have a beginning. We need to have an end to the shape as well. So this is the most difficult part. We're going to drop it right in, kind of in the center there. And you can see how the top right of this square, this line, this orthogonal, is this top right of this square here. Bottom left, and so on through all the points. You'll also notice that this line here, the top of the square, is parallel with this line here. This is essential for your project. The shapes must be parallel. And this is also one of the reasons I don't suggest doing circles for this project, is because trying to replicate that arc on a smaller form is very, very difficult. So stick with the major geometric shapes such as squares, rectangles, triangles, trapezoids, hexagons, things like that. Stay away from arcs and circles. So we can already see that we've got a form created here, and we want to set it free into space. So we're going to be erasing some lines from the vanishing point to that secondary form. And then we also want to keep erasing because the form, although it looks really good, we need to erase the lines that would be hidden by a solid shape. And don't be worried about erasing too much and into the major lines. We're going to go back over those lines with a heavier pencil, what's called a 4B pencil. B as in boy. This pencil has less binding agent. It has more graphite. Graphite is normally darker and heavier than we see in like a number 2 pencil. These pencils are available from art stores, and you can also use an ebony pencil. That's kind of a trademark by Prismacolor. So here we have gone over the structural components of the shape. Then we're going to shade the form in. We're going to shade in 2 directions using the edge rather than the point of the pencil. So generally you're going to go from east-west, and then you're going to go north-south. And by shading twice and in perpendicular directions, you eliminate any shading lines. And so it kind of forms this really nice, basically, value throughout the work. And that's the very basics for this project. We're going to be creating a minimum of 7 of these shapes. Please go ahead and use the different forms, such as triangles and rectangles. Vary the length of the shapes as well. You can add color with colored pencils. You do not have to use graphite. And if you want to make a landscape scene, that would be great too. But again, we need a minimum of 7 shapes, buildings, windows, cars, etc., where I can tell you know the components of linear perspective. If you have any questions at all on this project, you can always send me an email.